The disappearance of Samantha Chun. 17-year-old Samantha Chun was last seen on the night of the 17th of January, 2025, in Pupukea, Hawaii. A bright young woman with her whole future ahead of her, Samantha had gone out that evening with her boyfriend, 18-year-old Joseph Fujioka, for what was meant to be a night of relaxation and joy by the ocean. The two teenagers shared a deep bond and often spent their free time together, and that night was no different. Sadly, it would become the night that marked Samantha's disappearance and the loss of Joseph. At 9:54 in the evening, Samantha and Joseph were spotted at the Aloha gas station on Kipapa Drive. They appeared calm and content as they prepared for their outing to Keiki Beach, a well-known stretch of sand near Sharks Cove. By 10:30, they had arrived at the beach to enjoy the evening together. Neither of them would be seen again. The following morning, concern quickly spread among family members when neither Samantha nor Joseph returned home. Relatives drove to Keiki Beach and made a troubling discovery. The pair's belongings were left behind on the sand. Joseph's silver 2012 Toyota Corolla was also still parked nearby. Alarmed, Joseph's mother contacted the Honolulu Police Department at 10:45 in the morning, and a missing persons report was filed for both teenagers. An extensive search effort began on the 18th of January. Authorities scoured the shoreline waters and surrounding areas in hopes of finding answers. During the search, remains were located approximately 200 yards offshore. These were later confirmed to belong to Joseph. The discovery was devastating for both families, yet Samantha was nowhere to be found. Despite every effort, she had seemingly vanished into the ocean that night. Officials later confirmed that ocean conditions on the evening of the 17th had been extremely dangerous. Lieutenant Jesse King of Ocean Safety stated that waves reached between 30 and 40 feet, creating a volatile and treacherous environment. Such conditions presented immense risks, even to experienced swimmers, making the circumstances surrounding the night deeply concerning. Investigators also turned to the teenagers' phones for clues. Joseph's phone, according to his family, powered off at 11:06 in the evening, with its final recorded location placing him at Keiki Beach. Samantha's phone revealed one final glimpse into their last moments together. Her mother, Kiyomi, shared that there was video footage of the two sitting together, gazing up at the stars and the moon, enjoying each other's company. The video reflected their happiness that night, providing bittersweet evidence of the love and light they shared in their final hours together. While Joseph's remains were recovered, Samantha has never been located. Her disappearance has left her family, friends, and community heartbroken, clinging to memories of her vibrant spirit. Search efforts have not yielded answers, and her fate remains unknown. For those who love her, the pain of not knowing weighs heavily, yet so does the hope that someday there will be closure. The strange case of Trisha Lynn Writler. In the spring of 1993, the quiet town of Marion, Indiana, became the center of one of the most haunting mysteries in the state's history. 19-year-old Trisha Lynn Writler, a freshman psychology major at Indiana Wesleyan University, was known as a bright and hardworking student with a high-grade point average and a promising future. She was also deeply devoted to her family, faith, and education. On the evening of the 29th of March, she vanished, leaving behind a trail of questions that have never been fully answered. That night, Trisha had been working on a term paper in her dorm room at Bowman Hall. Like many students, she decided to take a break to clear her mind. Around 8 o'clock in the evening, she walked to Marsh Supermarket, a short half-mile distance from the university campus. She purchased a soda and a magazine, and with her usual determination, set off to return to her dormitory. Tragically, she never made it back. Shortly afterward, her blood-stained jeans, shirt, and shoes were found discarded in a field between Marsh Supermarket and the campus, near Saybold Pool and Center Elementary School. The eerie discovery suggested that she had met with something sinister on her walk back. Investigators learned that 6 or 7 people had been playing basketball at the adjacent playground that evening, but despite appeals for information, no witnesses ever came forward. From the start, authorities believed Trisha had been taken against her will, and foul play was suspected. Her disappearance shook both the university and her hometown of Olmsted Township, Ohio, where she had been the eldest of 4 children in a loving Christian family. Her parents were devastated, as they knew she would never simply walk away from her life, her faith, or her dreams. In the years that followed, several possible suspects were investigated. In 1999, attention focused on Donald W. Grenier, who was arrested for a separate crime involving a young girl. His history and proximity to other unsolved cases, including the disappearance of Wendy Felton in 1987, drew suspicion. Investigators searched his home for evidence tying him to Trisha, but nothing was found, and he was eventually cleared. Another man, Tony R. Searcy, a repeat offender, was also considered. Though he was questioned, he denied any involvement, and authorities never secured enough evidence to link him to the case. The most chilling lead came from Larry Dwayne Hall, a man who would later be described as a possible serial predator. Several months after Trisha's disappearance, police discovered disturbing materials in his van, including maps, articles about Trisha, and substances like ether. In December of 1994, Hall was arrested for the disappearance of Jessica Roach, a teenager whose remains were later discovered in an Indiana cornfield. While in custody, Hall signed a statement confessing to taking Trisha's life. He even led investigators to an area near the Mississinewa Reservoir, claiming it was where he had left her remains. However, despite intensive searches, no trace of Trisha was found, and Hall later recanted his confession. Hall's record remains troubling. He confessed to involvement in the disappearance of Lori Deepes from Wisconsin in 1988 and hinted at knowledge of the case of Paulette Webster, who vanished in Illinois the same year. Some investigators believe Hall may be responsible for as many as 30 to 40 women's disappearances across the Midwest. Yet, apart from the conviction in Jessica Roach's case, he has not been formally charged in connection with Trisha's disappearance. Today, he is serving a life sentence in a psychiatric prison in North Carolina. For Trisha's family, the years since 1993 have been marked by grief and unanswered questions. Her parents have openly acknowledged their belief that she is no longer alive, though they continue to pray for closure. Trisha's case remains open, and her memory endures through the loved ones who still wait for answers. The story of Trisha Lynn Writler is one of promise cut short, of a bright young woman who walked out into the night for a simple errand and never returned. Her disappearance reminds us of the fragility of life and the enduring strength of families who refuse to let the memories of their loved ones fade. The disappearance of Dean Vroman. On the 2nd of May, 2022, 21-year-old Dean Vroman vanished from his home in Wasilla, Alaska, leaving behind a mystery that remains unresolved. Born on the 11th of November 2000, Dean was known for his kind spirit and resilience despite living with fetal alcohol syndrome. Though high-functioning, he was classified as a dependent adult and was considered unable to fully care for himself on his own. For his family, his disappearance has been a source of ongoing heartbreak and unanswered questions. At the time of his disappearance, Dean was living in an apartment in Wasilla. On the day he disappeared, he had a verbal disagreement and walked away from the residence. What might have seemed like a temporary absence turned into something far more troubling when he failed to return. Days passed without word from him, and on the 15th of May, his family officially reported him missing to the Alaska State Troopers. Investigators soon began piecing together the last known movements of Dean. The final confirmed sighting came on the 15th of May, when he was seen at Wonderland Park in Wasilla, accompanied by several juvenile companions. This sighting offered some hope, yet no clear answers. Later in the year, on the 19th of September, there was another possible sighting of him near Horizon Drive and Knit Goose Bay Road, though this could not be definitively confirmed. Dean's case has been classified as endangered missing, with authorities believing he remains somewhere in the Palmer or Wasilla area. Despite ongoing searches and appeals for information, no conclusive trace of him has been located. For his loved ones, each day brings renewed hope mixed with sorrow, as they continue to wait for news that might lead them closer to bringing him home. At the time he disappeared, Dean was described as a white male with brown hair and grey eyes. He stood 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed approximately 179 pounds. He was last seen wearing a dirty white sweatshirt, blue jeans, tan leather work boots, and a blue beanie. These details remain crucial for anyone who may encounter him, as they provide the clearest picture of how he looked on the day he went missing. The disappearance of Dean Vroman stands as a painful reminder of how quickly a life can shift into uncertainty. For his family, the loss of his presence is especially heavy, knowing his vulnerability and the challenges he faced daily. Their love and devotion continue to drive the search, as they believe he may still be out there, somewhere close to home. Though time has passed since the 2nd of May, 2022, the search for Dean has not faded. His story has left a lasting mark on the Wasilla community, where people remain vigilant and hopeful that answers will one day emerge. Until then, his case remains open, his fate unknown, and his family's determination unshaken. The mysterious Gobekli Tepe situation is unraveling. Gobekli Tepe, an archaeological site in southeastern Turkey, has been at the center of historical interest and mystery since its discovery. Dating back over 11,000 years, it is believed to be one of the oldest known temples or ceremonial structures ever built by humanity, predating Stonehenge by several millennia. However, in recent weeks, rumors and theories have emerged, claiming that excavation work at Gobekli Tepe has mysteriously slowed down or stopped altogether. Even more intriguing, some assert that trees have been deliberately planted across the site to halt future archaeological efforts and prevent historians from uncovering more of our ancient past. Since 2016, all excavation activities at Gobekli Tepe, a site of utmost historical importance, have ceased. Instead, a roof has been erected above the site, and portions requiring excavation have been concealed by arboreal cover. Furthermore, the use of heavy machinery to build roadways over the excavation site aroused worry comparable to how filling the interior of Hagia Sophia with drywall or replacing the seating stones of an antique theatre with new marble. Their roots will penetrate stones that are a minimum of 11,000 years old, rendering future excavations nearly unfeasible. Covering an archaeological site with concrete has no validity if not explained to the residents of that country. The interesting element is that the Turkish population remains mainly oblivious. Eventually, the archaeological community and the residents who are aware of the matter are curious as to how such folly can be explained by executives of Dogus Group, leaving this issue unanswered. Klaus Schmidt's widow, who is also an archaeologist, makes annual journeys to Gobekli Tepe. Shocked by the alterations, she has called the situation as ludicrous and has uploaded unseen photographs of the roadwork on Instagram, generating more conflict within the archaeological community. In light of these developments, the site's formal opening date for tourists has been declared. This revelation indicates how the government's purpose with Gobekli Tepe is purely economic, meaning no archaeological development is anticipated for any time soon, generating concerns in the archaeology world. These recent announcements taps into a broader narrative about hidden knowledge and the suppression of historical truths. The idea that forces, whether governmental, academic, or even something more nefarious, are working to obscure our understanding of human history. Twitter users have asserted that a haunting voicemail they received might be connected to various phenomena, such as the disappearance of a passenger aeroplane, extraterrestrial existence, or an approaching doomsday. In this voicemail, a voice delivers a pre-recorded message using the phonetic alphabet. Some individuals have suggested that the numerical values represent a series of coordinates. According to their assertion, inputting these coordinates into Google Maps directs to specific locations, a spot in Africa and another close to Malaysia. Upon examination by numerous users, it was observed that the location mentioned in the voicemail was remarkably proximate to the spot where a famous airline's flight disappeared from radar surveillance. This close proximity led to theories suggesting that the voicemail might actually be a recording capturing the ill-fated aircraft's potential interaction with an advanced spacecraft. The initial social media post seems to have kicked off with Ty, a regular Twitter individual, without any obvious pre-existing fascination with mysteries. On the 13th of March, Ty shared a recorded voicemail that was left on his phone and requested assistance in deciphering its contents. The voicemail reads, "Danger. SOS. It is dire for you to evacuate. Be cautious. They are not human." This act sparked curiosity and collaboration among his audience to decode the message accurately. In a widely shared post that has now been deleted, Many raised questions and expressed their disbelief. Oddly enough, shortly after this, it was revealed that Tai vanished, and since this announcement, he hasn't made a post on social media and his account has since been hacked. On top of this, when you put the coordinates into Google, a mysterious website shows up. In the middle of the screen is the phonetic alphabet that reads, "You have now been added." Upon Tai sharing the content of the voicemail he had received, he then received a text message from a mysterious individual based in Indonesia. Oddly enough, upon translating the contents of the message, it revealed the following: "End the post you just shared about the recording on your phone." Tai proceeded to elaborate on his astonishment, expressing his complete perplexity regarding how this particular phone number had obtained his contact details. Furthermore, he was equally baffled by the fact that they seemed to possess information about his Twitter account. He revealed that he received this mysterious text message just moments after tweeting about the strange voicemail.
Sierra, Delta, Alpha, November, Golf, Echo, Romeo, Sierra, Oscar, Sierra. India, Tango, India, Sierra, Delta, India, Romeo, Echo, Foxtrot, Oscar, Romeo, Yankee, Oscar, Uniform, Tango, Oscar, Echo, Victor, Alpha, Charlie, Uniform, Alpha, Tango, Echo, Bravo, Echo, Charlie, Alpha, Uniform, Tango, India, Oscar, Uniform, Sierra, Tango, Hotel, Echo, Yankee, Alpha, Romeo, Echo, November, Oscar, Tango, Hotel, Uniform, Mike, Alpha, November, 042933964230, Sierra, Oscar, Sierra, Delta, Alpha, November, Golf, Echo, Romeo, Sierra, Oscar, Sierra.
Several nights prior to the commencement of the messages, Tai shared an unsettling incident on social media. He recounted an unusual occurrence where an unfamiliar individual drove past his residence late at night, specifically at 3 a.m, and proceeded to capture photographs using a flash. This eerie event raised concerns and garnered attention from his followers and friends. In his current understanding, he holds the belief that there is a connection between the individual carrying the camera and both the voicemail and direct messages that he has recently received. Ever since his social media post gained immense popularity, causing a surge of supernatural discussions and investigations on Twitter, numerous equally disturbed users have stepped up to share that they too have encountered the mysterious message. This widespread phenomenon has triggered a profound exploration into the realm of unexplained occurrences, prompting a deep dive into the nature of these eerie communications and their implications. Another user received the same automated voicemail as Tai. This man said that this encounter with an automated voicemail really affected him. The cryptic message, laden with urgency and foreboding, spoke of danger. The message was an SOS signal and a chilling warning which revealed that they are not human. It was an ordinary day like any other, when the man checked his voicemail and stumbled upon a message that would forever alter the course of his life. The voice, cold and mechanical, spoke with an urgency that sent shivers down his spine. Danger. SOS. It is dire for you to evacuate. Be cautious. They are not human. Bewildered and unnerved by the cryptic warning, the man's mind raced with questions. He quickly shared the message to social media, where people couldn't explain what was happening. Haunted by the ominous voicemail, he said that he wanted to get to the bottom of what it meant, saying that he was determined to unravel the mystery that had gripped his imagination. He scoured the internet for clues, delving into theories and urban legends in search of any semblance of truth. Yet, amidst the sea of speculation and conjecture, he found no concrete answers, only more questions and uncertainty. The only thing that was coming up was a location in Malaysia, with others saying that perhaps the voicemail was sent out by someone from this location. As the voicemail continued, the sense of unease only grew, with some recipients reporting feelings of dread and paranoia that lingered long after the message ended. Attempts to trace the origin of the transmission led to a dead end, with no clear explanation for its sudden appearance or purpose. Using advanced tracing techniques and digital footprints and Google Earth, online users said that they were able to trace the origin of the transmission to an obscure location in Malaysia. The discovery only served to deepen the mystery, as questions arose about who or what could be responsible for the transmission and what their intentions might be. Speculation ran rampant, with theories ranging from government experiments to extraterrestrial communications, but no definitive answers could be found. Yet, despite the widespread attention it garnered, the origins of the creepy automated voicemail remained shrouded in mystery, leaving many questions unanswered and minds unsettled.
Sir Victor Goddard and the Time Slip. The skies are a wondrous place, and ever since man evolved, we've dreamt of being able to fly. Of course, this is now possible, and thanks to the technological advancements in aircraft, being able to fly has meant that human eyes have seen things that we should not necessarily have seen. If you've ever been to Scotland, you'll know that its impressive landscapes and sprawling greenery can be extremely relaxing and very picturesque to fly over. But for one man in 1935, his routine flight over the Highlands became a little strange. Wing Commander Victor Goddard was conducting a routine aerial inspection of a disused World War I Air Force base at Drem near East Lothian. The base, which was dilapidated and had not been used for years, appeared to be being used as a farm. A day or two later, Goddard flew back towards his own base. It was a grey and rainy Monday, with low visibility and high winds, completely the wrong conditions for a pleasant flight, as you can imagine. He attempted to navigate towards Drem, but couldn't work out where to fly, given the conditions. Suddenly, Goddard lost complete control of his plane. It plummeted towards Earth through the thick grey cloud, which offered no brakes. As he reached 200 feet, he was certain it was over. But it wasn't. Goddard reported seeing swirling water and a stony beach and was flying near 150 miles an hour. Drem's hangars appeared as a silhouette in the bleakness of the afternoon, and as he approached the airfield, the skies brightened completely. As he flew nearer, he noticed a distinct difference in Drem's appearance. The airfield was freshly tarmacked, the hangars restored, and 4 bright yellow aircraft sat on the stand. One model of aircraft he didn't recognize, a monoplane of a new variation with RAF markings. Strangely, in 1935, the RAF had no monoplanes, not even for training purposes. There were men working on the ground, wearing light blue overalls, which was also strange as the mechanics that Goddard was used to seeing normally wore tan grey. Nobody seemed to notice Goddard's plane flying low over the airfield, and as he pulled his joystick backwards and powered back into the skies, the grey skies and ray returned. Soon he was near his intended destination and landed, dazed. Goddard tried to comprehend what he'd seen, but simply couldn't. His colleagues thought he was either drunk or mad, and he stopped telling his story. However, 4 years later, the airbase at Drem would be refurbished. The RAF uniforms would change to light blue, and a new training monoplane painted bright yellow arrived on the tarmac at Drem. As time went by, Victor Goddard came to the startling conclusion that he'd, in fact, travelled through time. The hikers on Devil's Mountain. Resting on the border of San Pablo, there is a mountain referred to by locals living in the area as the Devil's Mountain. The mountain has been surrounded with a number of disappearances from hikers every single year that claims the lives of even the most experienced hikers in the region. One such story from the locals tells of that of a married couple that went on a hike to the mountain and stayed there for a few days. After they had met others and told them they would be taking a forked path, they were never seen from again, leaving many people wondering which path they had taken, since there seemed to have been no forked path in the area. This story would later come up once again after a group of boys went to the mountain on a hiking trip and came across a married couple that fit the look and description of the couple that had went missing a few years prior, and so followed the couple believing that they might be ghosts or strange manifestations of the lost couple. As they followed the couple, they witnessed them going down a forked path and so followed them, of which eventually led to them losing sight of the couple and sustaining injuries falling down an area of the mountain. This has led some to believe that the lost people of whom went hiking on the mountain are still there, stuck in a possible time loop or warped reality in which they are jumping through time and encountering other people of whom have went missing on the mountain years prior. These fears have left many, including experienced hikers, worried as to how or why these strange occurrences have been appearing on the mountain, and so leave many fearful of journeying through the region. Are shadow people time travelers? Shadow people sound a bit creepy, right? They are defined as supernatural shadow-like humanoid figures that, according to believers, are seen flickering on walls and ceilings in the viewer's peripheral vision. Shadow people are considered as entities of the underworld, but those who have experienced them are not sure whether they are evil, helpful, or just there. Scientists have tried to offer explanations for the phenomena. For example, some researchers conclude that seeing shadow figures are simply symptoms of sleep paralysis or deprivation, and others have noted that drug addicts are more likely to experience these sorts of hallucinations. Alternatively, they can simply be the mind playing tricks on somebody who's experiencing a heightened sense of alert, for example, when you're walking down a dark alley at night. However, some people are convinced that shadow people are actually apparitions of time travelers. They think that the reason that they are only in shadow form is because we, on Earth, can't clearly see the future and therefore find it hard to see these figures. Instead of being supernatural or devilish creatures, they are actually just people from other dimensions. They also don't seem to be taking any notice of the people that see them, therefore fitting in with the common time travel theme. Often when time traveling, the person experiencing it is not noticed by anybody else. The thing is, this is all heavily disputed, and the scientific explanations are well weighted in their favor. We'll never know for sure if shadow people are time travelers or not, or even real. But one thing is for sure: the human imagination is a powerful thing. The disappearance of Jean Sampair. British Columbia, Canada. Sometime around 10 or 11 p.m. on the 14th of October 1971. 18-year-old Jean Sampair was walking along Highway 16 with her cousin Alvin before he turned back to get a jacket from home. He believed she was going to a nearby shop, but upon his return to the highway, she was nowhere to be seen. Alvin reported hearing a car door shutting, but nothing else. Earlier that evening, Jean had been seen by her brother Rod's wife, Violet. Violet recounted that Jean had been at her mother's house, but had left crying. After attempting to go after Jean, Violet was stopped by Jean's mother, who told Violet that Jean would return. Jean was of Gitxsan descent. The Gitxsan were a First Nation, meaning south of the Arctic Circle, indigenous group. When Jean failed to return home that night, her mother reported her to the Gitxsan Indian band, who, due to protocol, waited for some time to report the disappearance to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The search for Jean continued for 8 days, with police officers from other towns joining the search. Alas, despite tip-offs in larger cities such as Vancouver and Toronto, no trace of Jean was found. A 1971 report from the Gitxsan band chief counsellor determined that Jean had drowned, and the case was formally closed in 1985, only to be subsequently reopened after the family complained that there was no conclusive evidence that Jean had drowned. For Jean to have simply vanished was as alarming as it was strange, and subsequent events in the area fueled more sinister theories about the case. Her brother Rod alleged that he had seen files stating that a man named Kenny Russell had found some footprints near Gitxsan River. Although the footprints were never identified, this was the piece of evidence said to be behind the drowning theory. Rather mysteriously, Jean's boyfriend had gone missing soon before she disappeared herself, but was found drowned in the Skeena River nearby. The authorities initially thought that Jean may have committed suicide, but once again, this theory was dispelled as Jean was not known to be a suicide risk. The most chilling theory is that Jean was the second of the first 3 victims of the Highway of Tears, a stretch of Highway 16 where between 18 and 83 people have either gone missing or been murdered since 1970. This theory is supported by the car door noise her cousin heard on the night she disappeared. Worryingly, there is known to be disproportionately high numbers of murders and disappearances of Indigenous women on the victim list. Jean Virginia Sampair may well have been number 2 on that list. The disappearance of Susan Pearson. In 1966, a woman by the name of Susan Elizabeth Pearson was last seen in Missoula, Montana, and has not been seen since. Miss Pearson, an American woman from Portland, Oregon, went missing due to mysterious circumstances. She had been a graduate student at the University of Montana and was teaching there as an instructor at the time of her disappearance, days before her doctoral thesis was due. She was last seen by her friends on campus, as she was meant to take her business administration exam but never arrived. Likewise, Susan missed 2 work checks meant for her adding up to $1,200, which were never claimed. Initial searches for the woman were futile, yet when the police checked her apartment, they found it in pristine condition, untouched, with not a single sign of struggle. Her car was soon thereafter found completely abandoned in Missoula's business district. Her belongings were still in the car when the police checked it. They found her keys, purse, and other necessities inside, ones that any sane person would never leave unattended. Bones were found in 1970, but were analysed and found to be animal remains. Susan Elizabeth Pearson is one of the oldest missing persons cases Montana has had in the past century. Curiously, Miss Pearson was the granddaughter of Walter Pearson, Oregon's Democratic senator. Susan King, who was one of Susan Pearson's friends and a prominent singer at a nightclub, told the police that she had visited her on the night before her sudden disappearance, and that Pearson was in a frantic, nervous state. It was just a different Sue, she had stated. A prominent piece of the puzzle was the information King also received. Pearson mentioned leaving her life behind to begin anew in her frantic state. Later, she added that 2 delinquent boys from the course she was teaching threatened her with physical violence. Pearson's brother, David, added that it appeared his sister rushed out of her apartment and the tea kettle was left to boil on the stove. Days after her disappearance, there was a report of a sighting in Lolo Pass, but evidence of her actually being there is non-existent. No further sightings were ever reported. The Buache map shows Antarctica without ice. For over 40,000 years, Antarctica has been covered by glaciers and snow, making it one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. The ice makes it impossible for Antarctica to be a home to any humans. However, there are some thinkers who believe this wasn't always so. The Buache map was drawn by French geographer Philippe Buache. Buache drew his maps by combining his geographic knowledge, research from contemporary explorers, and astronomical observation. The map he produced in 1739 was titled in French. However, when translated, it means Map of the Southern Lands contained between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Pole, where the new discoveries made in 1739 to the south of the Cape of Good Hope may be seen. The biggest discovery on Buache's map was that it appeared to depict Antarctica before it was buried by ice, leading some explorers and geographers to use it as evidence that Antarctica was inhabited by an ancient civilization before being rediscovered in the 19th century. The most famous proponent of this theory was Charles Hapgood, who published Buache's map in his 1966 book Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings. However, the arguments of Hapgood and others have been met with criticism. Firstly, many argue that Hapgood did not take care in translating Buache's annotations on the map before publishing it, and if he had, he would have realized that Buache did not mean to depict an ice-free Antarctica. For example, there are multiple annotations over Antarctica on the map where Buache has written conjecturé and soupçonné, which translate as conjectured and suspected, showing Buache himself was not sure that human life could survive on Antarctica. What's more, the annotations also make frequent references to icebergs, freezing temperatures, and glaciers over Antarctica. Icebergs are even drawn on the map. Therefore, for many, the argument that Buache was using the map to claim Antarctica was ice-free would be ludicrous. Secondly, two versions of Buache's map were created, one which shows Antarctica with ice and one without. This has led some to suspect that the latter version of Buache's map might have been drawn by another cartographer or even forged. Thirdly, there is every possibility that Buache was mistaken. Buache was a highly qualified man who was one of the foremost theoretical geographers, and a lot of deductions on his map have proved true. For example, the existence of Alaska and the Bering Strait. However, that is not to say his work was faultless. His map shows New Zealand as a peninsula of the Antarctic landmass and a central Antarctic Sea, both of which are incorrect. It's possible the map was drawn by Buache, but showing an ice-free Antarctica that could have housed an ancient civilization was just another mistake he made. The truth of the matter is, we will never know if Antarctica was once home to an ancient civilization. In some areas of Antarctica, there are 30 tons of ice weighing down on the land's surface. If this ice were to be removed, the land would be so low that sea levels would immediately flood it. Frustratingly, this means there is no way to prove or disprove Buache's map and the theories that have come from it.
Carl Disch, a renowned physicist recognized for his significant contributions to the realm of particle physics, hailed from a quaint German town where his fascination with science, especially physics, bloomed at an early age. His academic journey commenced with the pursuit of physics studies at a university in Germany, and later took him across the Atlantic to the United States, culminating in the award of a PhD in particle physics. Despite his illustrious career, the scientific world was thrown into disarray by Carl Disch's inexplicable disappearance at Byrd Station in Antarctica. This enigmatic event has perplexed the scientific community to its core, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and sparking numerous theories and speculations. The mystery surrounding Carl Disch's fate continues to captivate the minds of researchers and enthusiasts alike. Throughout his professional journey, Disch played a pivotal role in advancing the realm of particle physics by making substantial and noteworthy contributions. His focused area of research revolved around the intricate examination of the characteristics of subatomic particles, showcasing a profound expertise in this specialized domain. Distinguished for his profound insights, Disch authored numerous scholarly articles in esteemed scientific publications, underlining his status as a distinguished authority in the field. Moreover, his reputation transcended borders, as evidenced by the frequent invitations extended to him to deliver keynote addresses at prestigious symposiums and esteemed educational institutions across the globe. Disch's impact extended beyond his research endeavors. His role as an educator and mentor was equally notable. Renowned for his adept teaching abilities, he garnered admiration as a professor appreciated for his accessibility and profound knowledge. His commitment to nurturing budding physicists showcased his dedication to shaping the future of the field, earning him immense respect among his students. Apart from contributing significantly to the academic realm through his research, Disch's legacy includes a profound influence on aspiring physicists, exemplifying a profound dedication to both knowledge dissemination and mentorship. Byrd Station served as a secluded research outpost, situated in one of the most extreme climates worldwide. This remote facility, known for its unforgiving environment, was where Disch embarked on his research journey with great enthusiasm. Despite the harsh conditions that surrounded him, Disch's determination and passion for his work remained unwavering as he delved into the complexities of his research. Upon his arrival at Byrd Station, a series of events unfolded that eventually led to his mysterious disappearance. Disch, a researcher hailed for his expertise and competence, started displaying unusual behavior marked by erratic and unpredictable actions. His concerned peers at the time attempted to establish contact with him in a bid to assist, only to be met with silence on his end. The transformation of Disch from a reliable professional to a troubled individual at Byrd Station stirred deep apprehension among those who worked alongside him, prompting them to seek ways to support him despite his reluctance to engage. Over the ensuing days, Disch's conduct took a bizarre turn, escalating in peculiarity. His presence at the station was marked by aimless strolls, accompanied by incoherent muttering and erratic actions that raised concerns among his co-workers. Despite multiple attempts by his peers to address the situation, Disch remained obstinate, disregarding logical appeals and persisting in his unpredictable demeanor. After a series of unfolding events, the pivotal moments preceding Disch's vanishing occurred on a particular day when he was observed departing from the station and venturing into the unforgiving Antarctic terrain. Despite the earnest attempts of his companions to prevent him, Disch ventured into the wild and has remained beyond contact or sighting ever since. The circumstances surrounding his disappearance paint a mysterious picture, leaving many unanswered questions about what transpired in the vast and icy expanses of the Antarctic. In 1965, Disch and his fellow scientists, including other researchers, set foot at Byrd Station, situated approximately 600 miles away from the South Pole, initiating a substantial and long-lasting scientific expedition. Over the following half-year period, Disch predominantly dedicated his time to operations within a radio booth positioned a significant distance of 1 mile from the primary station building. To facilitate navigation amid the challenging and unpredictable Antarctic climate conditions, a sturdy rope was strategically extended between these establishments, serving as a lifeline to ensure safe traversal in adverse weather scenarios. Carl Disch demonstrated great familiarity with the terrain as he navigated skillfully between buildings, adeptly using a rope for assistance. However, on the morning of May 8th, a peculiar turn of events occurred. He departed from the radio booth with the intention of reaching the station building, but mysteriously vanished, never to be seen again. This unexpected disappearance raised questions and sparked inquiries into the circumstances surrounding his final moments. After a thorough investigation, it came to light that Disch departed the radio booth precisely at 9 in the morning, a time when darkness still enveloped the surroundings. The weather conditions were harsh, with a relentless strong wind gusting through the Antarctic landscape, accompanied by a bone-chilling temperature plummeting to -44 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite the extreme cold, Disch donned specialized attire made for Antarctic exploration, ensuring he was adequately protected from the severe elements. Considering his attire and the familiarity of the route between the dwellings, the journey between the houses was estimated to be under 30 minutes. When Disch failed to arrive at the station by the designated time of 10 in the morning, his co-workers grew increasingly concerned. In response, they swiftly organized a search party to comb through the vicinity around the rope connecting the two structures. As the clock ticked towards 11:30 in the morning, their diligent efforts paid off when they stumbled upon a discernible path of human footprints originating from the radio box, hinting at a possible direction where Disch might have ventured. The traces commenced their journey from the base of a ladder connected to the cabin. However, rather than veering towards the south following the rope, which would be the conventional path one would anticipate, they took a westerly direction leading them to the ski trail meticulously planned by the scientific community. After meticulously tracing the tracks left behind by Disch, his companions diligently pursued the footprints for approximately 4 miles, only to be confounded when the trail abruptly vanished. The puzzling aspect of this scenario became glaringly apparent as the team scanned their surroundings, revealing no trace of a lifeless form believed to have been concealed by the snow, nor any indication pointing towards a potential attack on Disch that would have culminated in the removal of his body. Upon further observation, it appeared peculiar that, considering the circumstances of being lost in a blizzard, Disch's footprints did not exhibit the typical pattern of a person wavering back and forth in search of the correct route to the station. Instead, the tracks indicated a deliberate and intentional movement in a specific direction. This intriguing detail raised questions about the purpose behind Disch's confident stride amidst such challenging conditions. The clear direction in which he appeared to be heading suggested a determined resolve rather than uncertainty or confusion. Upon analysis, it was indicated that during the specific instance of movement, Carl did not perceive himself as being disoriented or bewildered. Due to the depletion of their fuel reserves, the team faced obstacles in examining the location where the signs of Disch's presence had been absent for an extended period, prompting their return to the station. They made the unanimous decision to replenish the fuel for their means of transportation before resuming their investigation of the vanished tracks. Following the refueling process, the team re-engaged in a meticulous and exhaustive 3-hour exploration of the vicinity, yet the outcome remained disappointing as no significant discoveries were made during this extended search period. Upon their return to the base at 6 in the evening, The team found themselves without any discoveries to report. The escalating winds had forced them to halt their inspection, rendering it impossible to proceed. Despite this setback, they clung to a glimmer of hope, fueled by the possibility that Disch, albeit chilled and lost, might still be alive, eagerly anticipating their rescue mission. The harsh weather conditions had thwarted their efforts, but the team's determination remained unwavering, as they refused to abandon the notion that their companion could be awaiting their arrival, in dire need of assistance. Upon arriving at the station, they commenced a thorough exploration of the surroundings, meticulously examining both the station premises and the radio booth. Subsequently, they rallied together to establish a human chain, systematically combing through the path connecting the base to the ski trail. This path was in close proximity to the point where the individual's tracks vanished, prompting a concerted effort to unravel the mystery. Despite facing challenging weather conditions, the team actively engaged in illuminating searchlights and launching flares at regular intervals of 30 minutes. They persisted in these efforts until the visibility deteriorated significantly, rendering these actions futile. During the subsequent day, the initiation of the third search mission took place, focusing on examining the vicinity spanning from the base to the ski run, following the chain of tracks. Regrettably, at that point, the tracks had predominantly deteriorated due to powerful winds. Occasionally, they encountered undamaged tracks along the way. However, after covering a distance of 4 miles, these tracks eventually vanished. The team diligently scoured the area, meticulously tracing the remnants of tracks despite the challenging conditions posed by the weather. On the fateful morning of May 10, 1965, which marked 2 days after Carl's mysterious vanishing, a renewed and extensive search operation was set into motion. The exploration initially commenced at the central station complex and subsequently extended towards the southern direction, conducting thorough searches in both the eastern and western regions, clearly marking the areas that were investigated. However, despite an exhaustive examination spanning 12 miles beyond the station boundaries, no discoveries were made. The meticulous search operation covered a significant radius outside the station compound, encompassing detailed sweeps of the surrounding areas in all cardinal directions. During the operations conducted on May 12th, thorough searches were conducted within the Baird Station's northeastern and southwestern areas. Despite the favorable weather conditions at that time, the darkness posed a significant challenge to the search efforts as visibility was greatly hindered. Subsequently, over the following 2 days, the combination of intense winds and dense fog severely limited visibility to the point where conducting further searches became unfeasible. This climatic deterioration hampered the search team's ability to continue their operations effectively, highlighting the intricate challenges they faced in their mission due to environmental factors. On May 14th, an extensive search covering an area of 35 square miles was conducted in an attempt to locate Carl, but unfortunately, no signs of him were discovered. Despite thorough efforts, neither Carl nor any clues leading to his whereabouts were unearthed. Subsequently, the search operation was called off. The inquiries that were raised in the past remain relevant even today. The perplexing circumstances surrounding Carl's deviation from his typical path along the rope continue to puzzle many. The mystery deepens with the question of how he managed to vanish without a single trace. It is intriguing that had he merely been lost and succumbed to the cold, his remains would likely have been discovered during the extensive search efforts. The abrupt cessation of his tracks, almost as if he evaporated into nothingness, adds an additional layer of complexity to this enigma. These unanswered questions linger, provoking curiosity and speculation about the bizarre sequence of events that led to Carl's mysterious disappearance. In the investigation of predator attacks in Antarctica, polar bears were swiftly dismissed as suspects since they are not native to the region, eliminating any potential involvement of four-legged predators altogether. The primary threat to coastal penguins comes from a limited group of predators, namely skuas, killer whales, and sea lions. In Antarctica, the vanishing of Carl Disch at Bird Station raised significant alarm within the scientific realm, prompting immediate and extensive search operations to locate him. The challenging terrain and extreme conditions of Antarctica posed obstacles to the search efforts, necessitating the formation of a specialized team of professionals to lead the investigative process. The disappearance of Disch not only spurred concerns about his well-being, but also underscored the complexities involved in conducting search and rescue missions in such a remote and unforgiving environment. The collaborative efforts of the assembled experts highlighted the meticulous approach taken to unravel the mystery behind Disch's disappearance. During the initial stage of the search operation, significant attention was directed towards the immediate vicinity of Bird Station. Dedicated search and rescue teams, in collaboration with volunteers from the scientific sector, meticulously combed through the area. This meticulous search encompassed a thorough exploration of the nearby wilderness on foot and an extensive aerial reconnaissance using helicopters. Regrettably, despite the exhaustive efforts exerted by the search teams, there was no trace or indication of Disch's whereabouts in this large-scale search operation. In the course of the ongoing search efforts, the focus gradually transitioned towards a more thorough and detailed examination of the series of events preceding Disch's vanishing. This thorough investigation encompassed conducting interviews with his associates and meticulously scrutinizing any accessible video or audio documentation from the station. Additionally, the inquiry delved into Disch's personal history and background in an endeavor to ascertain whether any pertinent details could provide clues regarding his mysterious disappearance. This meticulous scrutiny extended to exploring Disch's past and personal relationships to discern any potential leads that might illuminate the circumstances surrounding his sudden absence. Disch, a renowned physicist known for his dedication to research, mysteriously vanished, causing profound grief and sorrow within his circle of acquaintances. His unexplained absence not only led to unanswered questions, but also created a void in the scientific community due to his invaluable contributions. The mysterious vanishing of Disch within the scientific realm has triggered inquiries into the risks associated with conducting studies in extreme settings like Antarctica. Furthermore, it has initiated dialogues regarding the necessity of robust mental health resources for researchers stationed in these isolated regions. This incident has also reignited attention towards enhancing safety measures and protocols for individuals engaged in research activities within remote and arduous environments. Delving deeper into the implications of Disch's disappearance, the scientific community is now actively scrutinizing the challenges and demands faced by researchers working in such secluded and demanding conditions, emphasizing the critical need for comprehensive support systems and stringent safety guidelines to safeguard the well-being and security of researchers in the pursuit of scientific exploration. In the eyes of Disch's close friends and family, his sudden vanishing has struck them with immense sorrow and despair. Despite extensive search and rescue operations, there has been no trace of his whereabouts, leaving his dear ones clinging to the hope that someday he might reappear. This mysterious event has triggered contemplation on the toll that working in isolated settings can take on a person's psychological and emotional stability. Dr. Milton Wainwright seeks to persuade the public that he has discovered advanced life hovering approximately 25 miles above Earth's surface. However, despite the eagerness of tabloids to embrace his narrative, the scientific community remains hesitant to endorse his findings. If one were to come across life existing at an altitude of 25 miles above the surface, it would undoubtedly be an extraordinary occurrence. Traditional aircraft do not reach such heights, and although it is arguable whether powerful volcanic eruptions could disperse living cells to such altitudes, there is no evidence to suggest that a volcanic eruption was responsible for this discovery. Therefore, if any form of life were indeed able to float at such heights, it would undoubtedly merit thorough investigation. Oddly enough, further investigations haven't occurred, and the scientific world doesn't want to pursue this discovery any further. So, why haven't scientists shown more interest in this phenomenon? Dr. Wainwright, a microbiologist employed in the Department of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology at the University of Sheffield, has been attempting to inform the scientific community about his belief that Earth is being actively targeted by advanced beings. According to his theory, these advanced life forms are implanting minuscule living probes into our atmosphere using microscopic metal spheres, which are intelligently designed to seed life on our planet. Predictably, this assertion was met with skepticism among researchers, prompting him to adopt an alternative strategy. The teacher sent his findings to his students via email, and a portion of them shared it on various social media platforms. So, what is the reason behind the lack of belief from the majority? The evidence is interesting, and one photograph shows a mysterious orb that appears to contain an unidentified biological ooze. Additionally, his studies have been published in the Journal of Cosmology, a publication that has faced criticism for its questionable peer review process and outdated design from the 1990s. Also, scientists and researchers that have presented their research into advanced life usually get looked down upon by the scientific world, with some scientists going as far as refusing to talk about the subject. Dr. Wainwright clarified that the critics argue that the samples we collected could have originated from Earth. They believe that there must be a process that can carry these particles from Earth to the stratosphere. The DNA-containing masses and other peculiar organisms we have identified are not related to pollen, grass, or fungal spores found on our sampler. If our organisms had indeed come from Earth, they would have been contaminated with typical Earth organisms, but this is not the case. Based on his statements, the organisms exhibit DNA presence and possess masses exceeding the size threshold for particles that can be transported from Earth to this altitude. Additionally, he assures that he thoroughly examined for potential contamination using high-altitude balloons. Dr. Wainwright informed scientists that they conducted an experiment involving balloons and a sampler, and they discovered that there was no pollen or grass present in the samples. This suggests that the samples were completely pure and unaffected by any outside contamination. Based on these findings, Dr. Wainwright believes that the organisms found in the samples are likely originating from space. He further explains that whenever we venture outside, we are constantly bombarded with organisms that originate from space. Wainwright has previously reported similar findings on multiple occasions. In 2013, he observed a similar phenomenon suspended 16 miles above the Earth's surface. As mentioned, he shared an image depicting a small metallic sphere emitting a viscous substance collected from the Earth's stratosphere by a balloon. However, his research did not undergo proper approval or recognition, and nobody has attempted to replicate his findings. It leaves us wondering whether Wainwright's discoveries are simply a peculiar outcome of scientific exploration, or if they hold significant meaning. The truth remains uncertain. Panspermia, an ancient concept rejuvenated by modern astrobiological research, hypothesizes that life exists throughout the universe, distributed by cosmic dust, meteoroids, asteroids, comets, planetoids, and spacecraft, in the form of microbial life forms or biochemical precursors of life. In its simplest form, panspermia suggests that life, or the necessary elements to initiate life, could survive the inhospitable vacuum of space, encased in cosmic bodies, and be dispersed throughout the cosmos. This notion offers a counter-perspective to the conventional idea that life began on Earth, asserting that our planet might instead have been seeded by advanced life. This transference of life could occur through various mechanisms. Lithopanspermia involves rocks or other matter being ejected from a planet due to a significant event like an asteroid impact. This ejected matter, potentially containing microbial life or its precursors, could travel through space and eventually land on another planet. If the new planet's conditions were hospitable, the contained life forms could propagate, effectively seeding life. Alternatively, radiopanspermia proposes that tiny life forms or organic molecules could be pushed across space by the radiation pressure from stars. The theory of panspermia, once consigned to the realm of science fiction, has gradually found support from various scientific observations and experiments. First, some microorganisms, such as tardigrades and specific types of bacteria, have exhibited impressive resilience to the harsh conditions of space, including extreme temperature fluctuations, vacuum conditions, and cosmic radiation. This extreme resilience underpins the viability of panspermia. Secondly, organic molecules, the building blocks of life, have been discovered in meteorites, comets, and interstellar dust clouds, suggesting that these essential ingredients for life are not exclusive to Earth, but are widespread in the cosmos. Perhaps the most compelling support for panspermia comes from the rapid emergence of life on Earth. Geological records indicate that life sprang up on Earth relatively soon after the planet became habitable. This abrupt appearance of life has led some scientists to speculate that life might have originated elsewhere and been transported to Earth. If panspermia is accurate, it raises fascinating possibilities about the prevalence and diversity of life in the universe. The seeding of life on Earth could imply that life originated from a location in the cosmos, with conditions more favorable to life's genesis, potentially Mars, or even a different star system. This idea is testable. Discovering evidence of past or present life on Mars or other celestial bodies, and analyzing their biochemistry, could reveal a shared ancestry with terrestrial life. However, panspermia does not answer the fundamental question, how and where did life first originate? It merely suggests that life's birthplace could be somewhere other than Earth. Understanding life's origin, therefore, remains one of the biggest unsolved puzzles. Panspermia also significantly broadens the potential habitats for advanced life, extending them beyond planets and moons to include interstellar dust clouds, meteorites, and other celestial bodies. Consequently, it has considerable implications for astrobiology and the search for advanced life. While we have yet to confirm panspermia, the theory forces us to rethink the conventional Earth-centric perspective on life's origin and distribution. It nudges us to regard life as a cosmic, rather than a terrestrial phenomenon, shaped by galactic dynamics and planetary evolution. The question of whether life exists beyond Earth has fascinated humans for centuries. As our understanding of the cosmos expands, we have come to realize that the conditions for life might not be as unique as once believed. The first point to consider is our definition of life. Terrestrially, life is characterized by a set of features, including the ability to grow, reproduce, respond to environmental changes, and undergo evolution. However, life elsewhere in the universe might not follow these exact principles. Therefore, astrobiology often seeks to identify biosignatures, signs of past or present life, such as certain chemical imbalances or structures that would indicate the presence of living organisms. Next, we must consider the conditions needed for life as we understand it. Life on Earth requires a stable source of energy, like our sun, and a suitable environment, such as the presence of water, and an atmosphere with the right chemical components. With this understanding, astrobiologists have been able to identify numerous habitable zones around other stars where conditions might be right for life as we know it. In the conflict-ridden territory, Ukrainian military personnel captured on video an unidentified flying object resembling a disc, which exhibited a notable absence of sound. Amidst the tense atmosphere of the area, the individuals belonging to Ukraine's 406th Battalion found themselves in a perplexing situation as they gazed at the eerily still, unidentified flying object in the sky. One of the individuals can be heard questioning what the object is and asking why it isn't moving. Intriguingly, the dimensions, elevation, and form of the entity continue to elude identification, leaving it shrouded in enigma. The unsettling video was recorded recently by the 406th Battalion through the utilization of more than 300 thermal imaging quadcopter drones employed by the Ukrainian armed forces as part of their strategy to protect the country against an ongoing 2-year incursion by Russia. These heat vision drones play a crucial role in the defense efforts, enabling the Ukrainian armed forces to closely monitor and respond to the persistent threat posed by the extended invasion from Russia. In accordance with the capabilities of the thermal imaging drone's temperature spectrum, it indicated that the unidentified flying object emitted a higher temperature compared to its immediate environment, referred to as black hot. Despite this observation, the information provided by the drone was not completely conclusive due to a red error message displayed on the control interface. The recent event represents the most recent UFO sighting above the conflict-ridden land of Ukraine, sparking prolonged intrigue regarding the potential motives behind these aerial enigmas. This occurrence not only contributes to the long-standing history of speculation surrounding unidentified flying objects, but also serves to validate the accounts of military personnel who have reported witnessing UFOs interfering with nuclear weaponry. This incident has rekindled interest in the phenomenon, prompting a deeper exploration of the intentions and implications of mysterious objects seen in areas of conflict. In one account from the 406th group, a member confidently labels the object as definitely a UFO. The troops engage in an ongoing discussion as they observe that something is fixed in its position on the display. During their interaction conducted in the Ukrainian language, The discussion was meticulously interpreted and validated by numerous translators, ensuring the accuracy and fidelity of the exchange. In its enigmatic nature, the airborne entity, though not yet recognized, displays a remarkable similarity to the Baghdad Phantom, a slender cylindrical anomaly observed over Iraq in May 2022 through the thermal imaging camera of a US Air Force Reaper drone. This unidentified object has sparked intrigue and speculation due to its uncanny resemblance to the previously cited phenomenon, raising questions about where it came from and how it was able to hover in the sky, motionless. In the closing scenes of the video capturing the Ukrainian UFO incident involving the 406th unit, one of the team members can be distinctly heard, possibly making a jest, suggesting the idea of maybe ramming it using their small 2-pound quadcopter. This incident raises questions about the demeanor and reactions of the individuals involved in such encounters. The unit received a commercial DJI brand Mavic 3T thermal imaging drone as a generous donation facilitated by the fundraising initiatives of the Deep Inspire Foundation, supported by war correspondent Joe Lindsley, the founder of the Lviv Lab Media Center, in partnership with various humanitarian activists. Lindsley, reporting from Kharkiv, informed news outlets that his team has been consistently providing supplies to the active duty servicemen associated with the 406th over the course of the previous year. This dedicated effort showcases the ongoing commitment of the team towards supporting these military personnel. The battalion's Mavic quadcopter, a type of unmanned aerial vehicle, was flying at an altitude exceeding 500 feet above sea level in recent weeks when it detected an unidentified flying object. Taking into account the altitude at which the observation is made, the horizon that can be seen through the drone's camera from a distant viewpoint is estimated to extend up to about 30 miles. This implies that the unidentified flying object being observed could be situated at a minimum distance of 30 miles away, or even further, determined by its own elevation above the land surface. As members of the unit zoomed their drone camera, they can be heard on the video attempting to reason out what the mysterious track might be. Inquiring as to why the individual in question is unable to launch missiles in our direction, the query delves into the meaning behind this limitation. Amidst the scenario, a lone soldier from the unit raised the query and asked if there were any anomalies detected on the thermal imaging systems, indicating a need for supplementary infrared technology. It appeared that despite the drone being visibly switched to infrared mode and capturing the UFO on screen, the additional infrared equipment failed to support the observation. The soldier's inquiry highlighted the limitations of the existing technology and hinted at the complexity of the unidentified object's characteristics that warranted a more nuanced analysis. News outlets have made contact with the battalion through Pavlo Teletsky, a financial technology innovator who manages the Deep Inspire tech consulting firm. Additionally, he has played a significant role in providing assistance to the 406th Battalion by utilizing his Deep Inspire Foundation. After an intense 48-hour mission, Teletsky informed news outlets via email that the team is presently recuperating from their efforts by catching up on some well-deserved rest. He mentioned that they will be fully refreshed and ready to provide further detailed information tomorrow. UFO sightings have become a repetitive phenomenon within the frequently tumultuous turmoil in Ukraine, especially amidst the deliberate dissemination of misleading information for tactical gains. This intriguing occurrence of unidentified flying objects has sparked curiosity and speculation among the populace, adding a layer of mystery to the already complex situation. Scientists who have been conducting sky observations in Kyiv have published a compelling research report, revealing their discovery of squadrons and fleets of enigmatic aircraft. These aircraft have been described as moving at incredibly high speeds, defying conventional explanation and appearing ubiquitous in the skies. The detection of these mysterious objects has been made possible through the use of advanced camera systems typically employed for meteor observation. The current findings indicate that these unidentified aircraft have been observed traveling at speeds reaching tens of thousands of miles per hour, a phenomenon perplexing in that they do not generate a typical sonic boom. The study suggests a pervasive presence of these unconventional aircraft, sparking intrigue and curiosity among the scientific community worldwide. In accordance with their discoveries, NASA enlisted a professional team to investigate enigmatic airborne vessels, occurrences that defy conventional scientific explanation as familiar natural events. The main astronomical observatory of Ukraine is also engaged in conducting an autonomous examination of these aerial crafts. To facilitate these inquiries, we utilized 2 meteor stations stationed in Kyiv and another situated in the southern part of the Kyiv region. The observations were conducted using color video cameras during daylight hours. A specialized observation methodology was devised for the purpose of identifying and assessing the unique characteristics of these enigmatic aircraft. From the gathered data, 2 categories of unidentified aerial phenomena emerged, which we have termed as cosmics and phantoms. Their presence is ubiquitous, with a substantial quantity of objects of mysterious origin being sighted. Instances of individual flights, formations and squadrons of these aircraft were detected, navigating at velocities ranging between 3 to 15 degrees per second. Certain luminous entities demonstrate consistent variations in brightness within the frequency range of 10 to 20 Hz. By conducting simultaneous observations of these perplexing airborne objects from a base distance of 120 kilometers, employing synchronized cameras, a dynamic entity was identified at an altitude of 1,170 kilometers. This entity exhibits rapid flashing lasting a fraction of a second, occurring at an average frequency of 20 Hz. The appearance of unidentified aircraft over certain regions is not a new occurrence, sparking speculations among amateur investigators that these vessels hold a particular interest in our activities, especially those involving advanced weaponry. While public officials remain cautious in their statements, confidential documents pertaining to national security reveal a widespread effort by governments worldwide to unravel the enigmatic link between these aircraft and nuclear armaments. Curiously, these mysterious crafts possess a peculiar capability to remotely deactivate nuclear weapons, prompting intense scrutiny and concern among global authorities. The intricate nature of this phenomenon has spurred in-depth investigations, highlighting the urgency to comprehend the perplexing relationship between these unidentified aircraft and the manipulation of nuclear technology. This mysterious photograph has just been posted on social media, showing what appears to be a massive object hovering close to the moon. Oddly enough, this isn't the first time that mysterious objects have been seen close to the moon, and it's caused some users to suggest that this may be an unidentified object. Those who've studied the unknown have reported that the moon is a hotspot, and that every year thousands of mysterious objects can be seen close to it. Unidentified objects have sparked intrigue and controversy for decades. Although they are most commonly associated with sightings in Earth's atmosphere, numerous accounts over the years have reported unidentified objects in the proximity of Earth's natural satellite, the Moon. Reports of mysterious aircrafts near the Moon have been made by astronauts, astronomers, and casual observers alike. The Moon's relative proximity, combined with its lack of atmosphere, makes it a perfect backdrop for observing anomalies. Often, these observations are of unexpected objects moving across the lunar surface or near the lunar horizon. There are multiple reasons that could potentially explain these sightings. Firstly, it is essential to clarify that many sightings can be explained by natural or man-made phenomena. For example, satellites and space debris in Earth's orbit could easily be mistaken for unidentified objects when they pass between an observer and the Moon. Another explanation could be related to optical illusions or misinterpretations of natural lunar phenomena. The human brain is predisposed to identify patterns, even where none exist, a phenomenon known as pareidolia. This could lead to interpreting shadows or irregular lunar features as foreign objects. Lunar transient phenomena, temporary changes in the lunar surface's appearance due to outgassing or impacts, might also be misinterpreted as mysterious activity. Despite these potential explanations, some argue that a subset of lunar sightings cannot be easily dismissed. Astronauts of Apollo missions have reported seeing flashing lights and other unexplained phenomena during their lunar voyages. While some of these instances were likely attributable to cosmic rays hitting their retinas, others remain unexplained. Notably, though, none of the Apollo missions reported sightings that would unequivocally indicate the presence of advanced crafts. In the broader context, the attention given to sightings near the Moon reflects humanity's enduring fascination with the possibility of advanced life. It's a curiosity that drives not only the passionate debates over individual sightings, but also more substantial scientific endeavors, like the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. As we continue to explore our universe, the question of extraterrestrial life remains one of the most compelling unsolved mysteries of our time. As of right now, while most mysterious objects seen close to the lunar surface can be attributed to man-made or natural phenomena, some instances remain unexplained, contributing to ongoing discussions about advanced life. These sightings underscore the importance of vigilant observation and open-minded inquiry as we continue our exploration of the cosmos. Whether these unexplained instances are evidence of extraterrestrial civilizations, however, remains to be proven. As of now, the extraordinary claim of extraterrestrial presence in our cosmic neighborhood still requires extraordinary evidence. The quest for understanding the unknown has always propelled humanity's foray into space. Astronauts, as the frontiersmen of this cosmic voyage, have occasionally reported encounters with unidentified objects, spurring fascination and debate. Astronauts from various space missions have reported encountering objects or phenomena that they could not readily identify. Perhaps the most famous of these is the account of the Apollo 11 mission. Buzz Aldrin, the lunar module pilot, reported seeing a light that seemed to be following their spacecraft en route to the moon. However, after careful analysis, it was concluded that what they were likely seeing was sunlight reflecting off an adapter panel jettisoned earlier in the mission. Similarly, during the STS-48 mission of the Space Shuttle Discovery, video footage captured several objects moving in unusual paths. While some enthusiasts interpret this as evidence of advanced activity, NASA scientists maintain that the objects were small ice particles disturbed by the shuttle's thrusters. Astronaut Gordon Cooper also reported a sighting during his Mercury mission in 1963. He claimed to have seen a greenish object approach his capsule, which was also picked up by the tracking station in Australia. However, no conclusive evidence has emerged to identify the object. Furthermore, space agencies like NASA conduct rigorous follow-up investigations to identify any unexplained phenomena. Often, these investigations provide plausible explanations, although in some cases, like Cooper's sightings, the phenomena remain unexplained. In a broader context, these astronaut accounts emphasize the importance of open inquiry and the need for rigorous, evidence-based investigation in our exploration of space. Every unknown object or phenomenon represents a potential opportunity for new discoveries, whether about our own technology, the nature of space, or possibly even advanced life. The International Space Station, an orbiting laboratory for international collaborative research, has become an unexpected focal point in discussions surrounding unidentified objects. Reports of sightings around the International Space Station have abounded since the station's inception, fueled by both astronaut accounts and public access to live feed cameras on the International Space Station. The sightings range from unexpected light phenomena to objects appearing to move in intelligent ways. It's speculated that if these mysterious objects are indeed evidence of advanced life, their interest could stem from a desire to understand our level of technological development, much like how we would be intrigued by alien technology. The International Space Station represents a significant achievement in human technology and international cooperation, making it an intriguing subject for observation from an outsider's perspective. It's where we conduct research in various disciplines, including biology, physics, and astronomy. Advanced civilizations might be interested in monitoring our progress, particularly as the International Space Station represents our most advanced foothold in space to date. Software artifacts or glitches in the live feed can also create the illusion of unexplained phenomena.